Welcome to the Tin Dog Podcast. As you can tell by the state of my voice, I still haven't quite got it back from the last few weeks. So rather than croak my way through Torchwood reviews, I thought I'd take a little sidestep for a while and do something more Doctor Who based. Every so often I get emailed from people asking me about the Big Finish range of stories. Now, as you'll know from listening to this podcast, you'll know I'm a huge fan of the Big Finish audios. For me, Doctor Who works so well when all you can do is hear it and you can't see the old-fashioned wobbly sets. Not that we ever could see wobbly sets. We are more than willing to suspend our disbelief. And so, now that Big Finish have made their range downloadable rather than just you can buy the CDs, this means that the range is much more available to our friends in the colonies, or as they're known to themselves, America, or indeed around the world. So, this whole new market is clamouring for Doctor Who. You can't go out and buy them all unless you're some sort of money-crazed lunatic with more time on their hands than you can shake a stick at. So where do you start? Do you start at number 1 and go from there? Do you find a specific doctor and just stick with that for a time being? Well, I've made some selections for you. But before I tell you those, I will tell you a little bit about Big Finish. When Doctor Who vanished from the BBC, the blue light was kept flashing in 2 quarters. The first was through the publishing company of Virgin, who continued the adventures of the Seventh Doctor and Ace, and then Pennies, in literary form. But that just wasn't good enough for some fans. Some fans had been making their own versions of the Doctor Who stories for some time, using their own actors, their own friends, and as time had gone by, these people were highly trained. They weren't just fans sitting in the basement somewhere. Well, they were, but they had very good equipment, and they had talent, and they could write. Many of these people went on to work on the new Doctor Who TV series, but of course that wouldn't happen until 2004, 2005. And so, Big Finish eventually came about. They hired the surviving Doctors, well, the actors who played the surviving Doctors, all except Tom Baker, and set about creating fully licensed Doctor Who stories that would fit into the gaps left by the television series. For example, the 5th Doctor could spend quality time with Perry just before his last story. The 6th Doctor could hang around with Mel slightly longer than he was allowed to on TV. The 7th Doctor could continue his adventures long after the 1980s, but before 1996. And of course, we could have whole series of Paul McGann, the gap between 1996 and 2005. So far there have been 106 stories fitted into these gaps, and some of them have been some of the finest drama found anywhere. And it's not just me thinking that. Russell T Davies actually said that about my first choice or suggestion for you, Spare Parts. I won't talk a huge amount about Spare Parts, but I will now play the trailer, courtesy of the Big Finish website.
It's taken 6 years training, but the sky's the limit today as mankind sets out on its mission to see the stars.
This area is restricted to civilians.
Why? What aren't we supposed to see?
I saw your friend. Seemed like an amiable chap.
The Doctor?
At Dobbs.
What were you doing there?
What's happening?
Oh, power cut. Just when I got the lights on.
Sounds like your society's in its death throes. Not the end of the world. You could be right. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe Mondas doesn't have a future after all.
Emergency generators! Get the backup generators running!
Keep moving.
It's too dark to see.
No one leaves! No one!
Dr. Van Allen, you are relieved of your duties.
How dare you, Zheng! All this is my work! I
created you.
And I am superior to you. Be proud while you still have the capacity.
That travesty that was once a human being is part of it. I don't know how long it'll take. I'm not even sure I want to stop it. But I can give you a wake-up call. It's up to you, not me, to change things and stop this horror once and for all.
Clear these streets. Return to your homes. There is nothing to see.
As you could tell, this is a Cyberman story. It is, to many people, genesis of the Cybermen. It's the real Cybermen, the Cybermen of our universe, not the alternative Earth Cybermen. There are some similarities between this story and the one seen on TV, but they are mainly fleeting in nature. This is the story of how the people of Mondas and Telos turn themselves into living robots. They take their flesh and replace each part, including their humanity, and turn themselves into creatures that will eventually become monsters. It's a wonderfully complex story. It feels like it's set in 1950s Earth, 1950s England, and it's the first of my suggestions. I have yet to find anyone who will listen to Spare Parts and not enjoy it. My second suggestion for the new listener would be the first of Paul McGann's stories, set at some point after the movie. We're presented with a slightly more upbeat 8th Doctor, landing on board the British airship, the R-101. Here is the trailer.
Memoirs of an Edwardian Adventuress by Charlotte E. Pollard. Chapter 1. Candy-floss clouds scattered as the mighty dirigible soared into the black night sky.
Raise your glasses, gentlemen. I give you the R-101.
The R-101!
Ah, Frayling, over here, man, over here.
Maybe they wouldn't be singing our praises, Lord Tamworth, if they knew that this ship hadn't completed its trial.
Shh. Not having this, not again. Safe as houses.
On paper, sir, on paper.
Incredible. A time ship crashing. And again. And again.
I watched as the full moon shimmered into view, casting silver rays about the cabin when...
Oh no, Vortisaurs swarming to pick over the debris. Get away from there, you vultures! Leave that wreck in peace!
I need you, Frayling. The Prime Minister needs you. Your king and your country need you to be stout, dependable, and strong.
It's just like I say, if I remember my Earth history correctly, the R-101 airship took to the skies for her maiden voyage to India early in October 1930.
Yes, and?
And crashed in flames in France during a storm in the early hours of the next morning, killing everyone aboard.
What the devil?
Rocked by something.
Never mind that now, Frayling. Look what that silly arse has done to me best mess trousers.
Oh, look, I'm really very sorry. I've... Whoops.
Now, who exactly are you, and just how do you come to be aboard my airship?
Is that the greetings over with?
What?
I'm the Doctor, by the way.
Oh, I'm Charlotte. Charlotte Pollard. Charlie to my friends.
But it might be worth keeping an eye on that one as our little adventure progresses.
They're breaking through.
Godspeed you on your way, airship R-101, and God bless your passengers, the true masters of the air.
As you could tell, there's a whole new companion in the shape of the Edwardian adventurers, Charlotte Pollard. Charlie is the posh version of Rose. She helps to find the Doctor. She falls in love with the Doctor eventually, but don't let that put you off. Unlike the modern Doctor, the 8th Doctor poo-poos such ideas, and I can't believe I just used the words poo-poo and didn't laugh. Storm Warning also features the guy who played Blake in Blake 7, and there are some sterling performances. It's the beginning of an enormous story arc, and it introduces characters in such a way that it makes you wish you still had Paul McGann on the TV. My third choice is slightly more upbeat, one that respects a classic. It feels like an episode that we just didn't get to see, and while you're listening to it, you genuinely can't imagine it being part of a missing Colin Baker season. Colin Baker is not everyone's favourite Doctor. Even he would admit that. However, the audios have helped invigorate the audience's opinion of him something beyond anybody's dreams. The basic plot of The One Doctor is similar to some old movies where people impersonate police officers. We have an actor taking on the role of the Doctor and pretending to be the Doctor in order to take a planet for all it's worth. A confidence trick. So in many respects in this story there are two Doctors. The alternative sixth Doctor here, of course, is played by Christopher Biggins. A wonderfully screwy piece of casting, but well worth experiencing. I would definitely give this a chance. Go on, give Colin another go. You know you want to. You're missing out on something spectacular. It's light-hearted and re-examines Doctor Who on many levels. But you will come away from this smiling and feeling better about the Sixth Doctor in ways you never thought. Here's the trailer.
Citizens of Generios, you will listen.
These readings? Well, the TARDIS is way off course.
Way off course. We've drifted millennia into the far future.
I have been sent to collect tribute.
So, where exactly are we?
The vulgar end of time.
I must have the three greatest treasures of the Generios system, or I will destroy you all.
What's happened? We've only just arrived. We picked up a distress call.
Oh, sorry. Wasted journey. Well, we've been saved. The Skeloids are vanquished.
So what happened to these Skeloids?
The Doctor sorted them out for us, didn't he?
Did you say the Doctor?
Doctor, you've done so much for us. How can we ever repay you? I don't expect repayment. The work I do is rewarded itself. Anyway, Sally Ann and I really must get back to the TARDIS.
Looks like you've already saved the day then. Beaten yourself to it.
I somehow doubt it. I've never been to Generios before.
You don't reckon they've rumbled us? We ought to get out of here.
And lose our chance of 100 million credits.
You're really rattled, aren't you?
Yes. Because if I didn't save this planet from the evil Skeloids, who is the Doctor that did?
Bring me the tribute. The tribute, I say.
What a plank.
Again, sticking with the slightly light-hearted mood, my next suggestion is another Fifth Doctor story. Kingmaker. Not everyone's most popular story, but one that I keep going back to in my head. For those of you who aren't aware, in the 1970s there were a series of educational books called Doctor Who Discovers Dinosaurs, Doctor Who Discovers History and things like that. The storyline of this novel actually makes those almost canonical, which for those of you who haven't been hanging on to the word canon, basically means part of legitimate Doctor Who history. I don't really want to spoil the plot. Suffice to say, it's complex, it's interesting, it's impressive. There's also the possibility of the appearance of the Ninth Doctor. Well, not quite. And it takes Peri, the Fifth Doctor, and a new companion, an Egyptian princess called Aramem, to new heights. Here's the trailer.
Right. It's about 14:30. I'm heading for a little tavern on Fleet Street called the Kingmaker to do a little detective work. Someone once told me it can be a useful place to find out all sorts of stuff. You can't miss it, just head for St. Paul's Cathedral. The old Norman one, not the one with the dome. That's not there yet. I'll meet you there in 3 hours' time, and don't be late.
Greetings, Earl Rivers. I greet you in the name of the new king.
And greetings to you, Lords Gloucester and Buckingham. Well, what can I say? This is a most lovely surprise.
Good evening, sir. I am Susan, and I will be your serving wench for this evening. Would you like to sit in carousing or non-carousing?
Less of the Mr. Clary, Doctor. They'll start to think me a gentleman. Don't stand on ceremony, Doctor. Folks call me One-Armed Clary, don't they, boys?
Peri, is it a custom of this age for a man to place a hand on your bottom as a form of greeting?
Not really, no.
Aramem, did you just break that guy's arm? Yes.
For your information, sir, this is my traveling machine, my magic cabinet that takes me to places beyond your imagination.
So you're a demon, are you?
That depends. Do they burn individuals that show sign of devilry in this century?
Yes.
Well, in that case, I am a wise and benevolent sorcerer.
He's some kind of robot. His arms are soft. He seems real from this end.
Oh my god, this bit's detachable!
It's not real!
Sure, you're all right.
We're fine! We've got to get out of here. There's something nasty and alien happening here. We have to find the doctor.
Well, he did come out of this thing, sire, the like of which I have never seen before. And they do say that unusual portents crop up at the time of a coronation.
Who says?
Well, they do. The ones who do say. You know, they who do say.
Well, as long as we're being specific. You think I'm capable of killing a couple of kids? Murdering them in cold blood? Snuffing out a couple of young lives before they'd even begun?
Do you know what this means, Perry? It means we're not going to change history. We are history. We're part of it. It's not possible. I think we have solved the mystery. It's us, Perry. It is we who killed the princes in the tower.
Sometimes, Aramem, your ability to point out the flaws in my otherwise perfect plans errs on the irritating.
Doctor Who, you have transgressed your deadline. Your contract has been violated.
Now that's just what I thought you'd say.
My final suggestion for your delectation is an extremely haunting story called Night Thoughts. Sylvester McCoy plays the Doctor. Ace and a new companion, a male one called Hex, whose origin is explained elsewhere on another CD, of which I'll review another time, land on a small, terribly scary island where things have happened in the past. This is for people who like their Doctor with a gothic feel. Something very dark and mysterious. This is the sort of story that gets in your head, something similar to the Sapphire and Steel stories of old. I will play the trailer now for you, and then I shall go before my voice completely gives out.
Will you walk into my parlour? Said the spider to the fly.
Not all photographs bring happy memories.
There was a toy, you know, a kid's doll on the table, and a guy called Haiti. Or something. No, Hearty, I think. And they were trying to force him to operate.
I hereby certify that I am taking my own life. No one else is involved, and no one else should be punished. 10 years ago, I made a terrible error of judgment, and God alone will be my judge. My one wish is that I am not mourned. No funeral, no flowers, no fuss. You will all know what this means.
So, this is to be a battle of the minds, is it, Doctor?
So nice of you to come unarmed.
Please don't hurt me. I've told you before. It wasn't me, it was the others. I argued your case. Please, leave me and please, go away!
Will you walk into my parlour? Said the spider to the fly.
Mother dead, father gone. We think your sister's drowned.
You know what's really freaking me out here? You. Sat here telling me all this so rationally. I've just tied up a devious clinical psychopath, and now I'm actually listening to what you've got to say.
This is a message from the future. This is a message from the future. Will you walk into my parlour? Said the spider to the fly.
For God's sake, don't run!
That's it! Keep crawling! Ace!
Ace!
They killed her! They killed my baby! Thought she was dead! Tried to mask it out! Which one did it? Which one? I'll hunt them! I'll slice the truth out of them one by one! Gouge it out like my baby's eyes! And then...
Will you walk into my parlour? Said the spider to the fly.
Hopefully my voice will be better soon, and we can return to normal service for Season 30, or Season 4 of Doctor Who will be with us before we know. We'll finish reviewing Torchwood, and then we'll get on with the main course. Doctor Who. Be seeing you. You have been listening to the Tin Dog Podcast. Doctor Who and its associated shows are all trademark of the BBC. No infringement is intended. Contact us at tin-dog@hotmail.co.uk.